Let's start with bone loss or bone weakening, which is actually quite a big problem. Even affects men. It affects more women, but it also affects men. So this is the weakening of bone, osteopenia, and then of course, when it gets real bad, it becomes osteoporosis, and this can become quite a big problem. Resistance training. Remember the primary adaptation that resistance training causes in the body. And this is, by the way, a good conversation that we can get into a little later in terms of when you view exercise, you want to look at the workout and then understand the adaptations that the exercise or workout is causing in the body rather than just looking at the calories burned while performing the exercise. So when we look at the adaptations, which are to build strength and muscle, it also directly does that to bone because muscle anchors at bone. So studies will show that most forms of exercise have some positive effect on bone, but usually it's very little. For example, people with osteopenia, if they run or walk or cycle, they'll notice a little bit of an increase in bone mass in the lower extremities, not much in the upper extremities. Swimming, you'll see really small incremental changes. With resistance training, it's like night and day. Like nothing comes close to the bone strengthening effects of resistance training. Now, you mentioned hormones. A lot of people like to hear about this one because, you know, as we get older, we start to feel differently. Maybe libido drops a little bit. It's not as easy for us to burn body fat. Our skin, you know, doesn't look the same. We don't have the same vigor. And some of that is a result of just getting older. And some of that is a result of changes in hormones. For example, in men, testosterone levels start to decline, you know, right around in our 30s, and it just continues that way until the day we die. And women, aside from menopause, they still get imbalances with estrogen, progesterone. They also have issues with their own testosterone. Both men and women, growth hormone, which some doctors will call the youth hormone, will decline as we get older. And so a lot of people are interested in ways to naturally improve our hormone profile because it makes us feel good, right? If you give an older man testosterone, he starts to feel amazing and younger and has more vigor. If you balance out a woman's hormones artificially through either, you know, utilizing estrogen, progesterone, or even growth hormone, she'll feel the same way. She'll feel more vigor, younger, more energy. So a lot of people are interested, how can I do that naturally? Well, improving your health generally can positively affect those, but it's not a huge effect. In fact, some forms of exercise tend to have a negative effect on hormones. For example, cardiovascular activity has been shown in some studies to lower testosterone quite reliably in men. In my experience in women, especially when women already present with some hormone imbalances or symptoms of hormone imbalances, cardiovascular activity can actually make that much worse. Resistance training is the only form of exercise that has been shown to reliably raise testosterone in all men. So whether your testosterone's low, in the middle, or even high, you'll get a raising of testosterone. Not only that, but it also increases the density of androgen receptors in the body. So these are the receptors that testosterone attaches to. So you want to think of testosterone as like a key and the receptor is a lock. And if you have a lot of testosterone, but you don't have very many of these locks, it's not going to do much in your body. So more androgen receptors makes your testosterone just more effective. Well, resistance training not only raises testosterone, but also increases androgen receptor density. In women, it's been shown to balance out estrogen and progesterone. In both men and women, it raises growth hormone levels, brings them up to more youthful levels. In both men and women, muscle is by far the most effective way to improve insulin sensitivity, okay, which is a very important thing, right? Insensitivity to insulin or insulin resistance ultimately causes things like diabetes. It leads to cognitive dysfunction, excess body fat storage, especially in places that maybe you didn't store body fat before. So if you notice as you get older, as you gain weight, you notice your body fat is kind of being stored a little bit differently. Could be a result of hormone imbalances or insulin resistance. And so resistance training positively affects all these things.